Welcome back, everyone, to Random's Thoughts. It's spoiler number 2 for the day, but maybe not quite 2. You'll understand why momentarily, but we're back with another Runestrike spoiler episode for the upcoming Den of Thieves season. So let's jump in. So as mentioned, we're back again with another spoiler today. This time we have Cave Raider. Now, what is a Cave Raider? Well, before we get there, I want to, we'll draw it out a little bit. The first thing that came to mind when I was presented this card and its effect, which we'll factor in very quickly, I first thought of that guy. Yeah, there might not be a resemblance when we get to the card, but hopefully you'll understand why. So let's take a look at Cave Raider itself. So Cave Raider, a 2-cost 2/3 with a war cry, summon a golden idol to an empty enemy slot. Oh, and by the way, it's a rogue. That kind of plays in well, especially you'll recognize if you've been paying attention to the spoilers up to this point. There's very much a rogue undercurrent. I guess that kind of fits, although it's very obvious, so I don't know if undercurrent works, but whatever. So what is a golden idol? Let's talk about Golden Idol. Golden Idol is a 4-cost 0/8 construct. Little callback, I guess. It's a construct after all, with a berry. Add a random god to your enemy's hand. There's a lot going on here, so let's get them side by side and break it down. So as mentioned, there isn't a whole lot of correlation, at least in the looks department, between Harrison Ford and Cave Raider, but it does have the whole raiding tombs thing, finding arcs, or, whichever movie you happen to prefer. So, why am I excited about this card? Well, first of all, it's a pretty strong 2-drop, and overall, Runestrike is kind of lacking in the 1 and 2-drop department, so getting other things, especially a neutral, to buoy and buff up, fill out that particular rank is very important. I think it helps out a lot. It's a decent body. It doesn't just roll over and die to things such as Tessa's A1 or a variety of other 2 damage and lower effects. But we're not really in it for the body. We're kind of in it for what he gets you. Similar to Mass Incapacitate, Golden Idol is going to disrupt your opponent. Granted, it's going to put it into a random slot. It has to be an empty slot, so you can obviously, kind of figure out where it's going to end up. But odds are, especially on 2, the board's going to be mostly clear. But that slot is consumed for your opponent. And as mentioned in the Mass Incapacitate reveal, if your opponent isn't playing Morlich, it's not common that they're going to have a way to remove their own minion. Now, you can make the argument, oh, it's clogging up one of your attacking lanes. It's not that big of a deal. Why is it not that big of a deal? Well, you're disrupting your opponent. There's a lot of reasons why that's relevant. Additionally, you get some benefit when it does get removed, and it's not something that's just a throwaway. Getting a random god, yes, there are plenty that will not be good for the given scenario, but at the end of the day, as people have pointed out over and over and over again with Conjure, pulling cards from outside the game so that you're not expending the resources that you have either in hand or in your deck is very important and very powerful. You're getting this extra card added to your hand. And every once in a while, you'll hit the jackpot and go nuts. Even if it's something on the lower end, you still get additional value. At worst, it's another body with stats. So thumbs up there. So you got a body off Cave Raider. You disrupted your opponents. You got a god. What else is there in store with this guy? Well, there's always more. Think about Dawn's A2, for example. Think about ways that you can give this Resurrect or Bounce It or other ways to trigger the Warcry over and over and over again. All of these end up being really cool, and again, similar to Mass Incapacitate, maybe you go nuts and lock your opponent out of the game. It isn't quite a hard lock because obviously there are ways for them to somewhat interact with their own board, but a soft lock is still pretty good. Or if it's just hugely disruptive and your opponent can't win the race because, oh, they're blocking all your lanes, they're not taking damage. Well, yes and no, because you're going to get a bunch of gods from the Golden Idols that probably at least one of them will end up being valuable. So overall, I'm very excited about Cave Raider. So I want to know what everybody else thinks. You excited about this card? Are you going to slot it into everything, or is it only in a particular build? There's a lot of things in store in the Den of Thieves expansion, and I'm very excited for, so far, all of them. But that'll do it for this time, everybody. So as always, thank you for listening, thank you for watching, and Black Lives Matter.